Happy Wednesday, everyone. So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall, and I am a divorce and intimacy coach. So I really am all about helping people through the divorce phase of life, when you get sick of that pain and heaviness and all of that shit from the divorce phase of life, and you are ready to move forward into a way that feels so much better and really transform that pain into power. That is what I am here to help with. I also talk about dating, co-parenting, all the stuff related to that. So I come on here every week and I do these tea break chats, or I chat a little bit about life, what's been going on for me lately. It's a general chit chat, lessons, struggles, all that jazz, and then I answer your questions. Hello, beautiful. So this week, to be honest, I do these every week pretty much without fail. But this week I had a moment of, oh, do I want to do it this week? What am I going to come on and talk about? It's kind of been like a nothing week. And then went, well, so that's what you talk about. You talk about the fact that sometimes it's not always big growth or massive struggles or like any of the big stuff. Sometimes it's just a week. And a big part of what I have been focusing on lately is going back to basics, which is why I felt like I didn't have a whole lot to talk about this week, because I've been really focusing on going back to basics. And then, like I said, that's what I then need to share, because that is a really important piece in all of this growth work. Like when you get into this whole inner growth and it's this constant thing that you're always like, you're constantly growing and learning and expanding and all of this, there's also phases where you go, okay, I'm not going backwards. I'm not going to stop this whole journey, but also it's okay to just like release my foot from the gas for a little while. It's okay to go, I need to focus on the basics. And so what that's looked like for me recently, as you know, if you've been watching these, I've started a part-time contract work role, and I'm doing my coaching business. There's been a lot of adjustments and change there. And so I sat down this weekend. I had a day without the girls. So I sat down and had a CEO day where I really looked at the bones of my business, the framework, and got really clear on what is my purpose, what is my mission, what is my vision, what are my key strategic focuses, and even more specifically, what within those strategic drivers, what am I focusing on this quarter? And got really specific on what can I actually do to move my business forward. And honestly, I do need to go back to it again, because I still think I was a little bit overambitious in terms of the, like, how much can I do in this period of time that I have right now. Somebody mentioned this to me today, actually. It was a good reminder, this phrase of we overestimate what we can get done in the short term, but we underestimate what we can do in the long term. And I am very guilty of that at times, going, I can do all of the things all at the same time. And yeah, in the long run, I can have all of the things I want, but that doesn't mean I can do all of the things right here and now today. So even though I was doing this business framework with the idea of getting really clear on what are the basics, what do I need to master and focus on, I still think I was a little bit like, and I can do all the things. So I'm going to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes and see where I can pare it down even more into the basics. But one of the things, so I have 4 areas in my business that I want to focus on, 4 things that I really want to do. But one of those is serving the shit out of myself. So it's just so you know, the 4 things I need to focus on in my business are finding potential clients, selling to clients, serving the shit out of my clients, and serving the shit out of myself. And that is what's going to get me this vision that I have for my business. So then when I was looking at the strategic priorities for right now, in terms of the serving the shit out of myself, what I need to focus on, that was really coming back to the basics again. And honestly, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like a houseplant or a puppy or something like that. But the things I need to focus on for me are eating nutritious food, drinking enough water, getting outside, getting some fresh air, moving my body, and sleeping. Like, those are the foundations of all of this. And they sound so basic. And as I was writing them down, I was like, seriously, this is what you're writing down to focus on? But yeah, because it's so easy to let those foundations slip. And I am reasonable at the food, reasonable at the water, pretty mixed on the getting outside and the movement. I do work with a personal trainer, so I get at least 3 workouts a week, so that's fine. But the other 4 days a week, I don't always get a lot of movement. And the sleep thing is tough for me. That's always been kind of my go-to personal sabotage. Even thinking back to like lockdown in those early days where I had a newborn, a toddler, my husband had just moved out, everything was falling apart. I would stay up insanely late at night just binge watching Netflix or doing stuff on my computer or my phone or whatever. Like prioritizing sleep has always been a struggle for me. And so I'm really putting that into and all of the science says how important it is. Like, I'm an intelligent person. I know how important sleep is, and yet I can't quite make myself do it. So although it sounds basic, those foundations of serving the shit out of me are so very important. So that is what I am focusing on. Is it sexy and exciting? No. Does it make great social media content? No. Do I want to be posting every day? Like, look, I ate this meal, or look, I went to bed on time again. No, it's not the sexiest of content. Hence why I've been quieter these past few weeks, because I've really been narrowing in on these nail the basics, and it doesn't feel worth sharing, and it is so crucial. So that's what I'm going to keep focusing on for right now. And knowing that these things are actually what's making room and space in me and in my business for the continued growth, because we cannot keep up this like crazy pace of growth and progress and expansion all the time. And I think it was last week where I was talking about the fact that, would it be great if growth was this linear thing, but actually it's more like a spiral staircase where you're like, here's that thing I saw before. And then you go up a level and you're like, oh, there it is again from a new level. And I talked about that. So how it's, it's definitely not linear, but also within us, we can't always keep up the same pace. So there's this point, and it doesn't, just because it feels like you're taking your foot off the gas a little bit, doesn't mean the growth isn't happening, or doesn't mean you're not kind of setting the groundwork for it. It just means you're giving yourself some breathing space. So yeah, it's kind of where I've been at. And I should say, to mixed results. So while I'm putting in these, like, focus on the foundations, my food is pretty good these days because I work with Pippa, my personal trainer. If you guys haven't seen me shout about Pippa Grover, Grover, suddenly having a mind freeze there. Anyway, Pippa is my personal trainer. She's incredible. So she does it all online. She helps me. I send her a meal plan. She gives me feedback back. We do the training programs. Like I said, I do workouts with her 3 times a week. I send her a video. She sends me really detailed video feedback back. She's incredible. I cannot recommend her enough. And she's so aligned with my values in terms of like the mind, body, soul connection. And when I'm like, I'm freaking out, I can't do this right now, she's like, it's okay. Like she's got like meeting you where you're at and understanding that life's and also keeping me accountable. So that was a long-winded spiel to say, if you want her contact details, please let me know. She is phenomenal. I really, really, really think that we all could use some Pippa in our lives. Anyway, so because of working with her, and I've been working with her on my nutrition since June, I think. Yeah, I think I started working with her in June because I went to her and said, oh my God, my eating habits are terrible and I live by myself and there's nobody here to see me eat terrible when my kids aren't here. So like, help. So I'm pretty good at getting nutritious food in. My water intake, I'm reasonable at that. Like I said, I've been getting better at the movement because I'm focusing on that. The fresh air is still a struggle wherever you guys are. I don't know what the weather's like, but it's not warm here. It's not freezing cold, but it is not warm and inviting. It is very blustery March, like in like a lion, out like a lamb. We're still feeling the lion phase of March. So I just don't want to go outside and get fresh air. Even though I know I usually feel better when I do, it doesn't mean I want to do it. So still kind of failing on the fresh air side a lot, but I'm getting so much better at the sleep. At like about 6 days a week, I can get myself in bed on time and I'm happy with that. And I get close to 8 hours of sleep. About once a week, I seem to completely sabotage and stay up way too late watching Netflix or doing whatever. What's massively helping me those other days is I plug my phone in downstairs when I go up to bed, so I'm not sucked into a phone hole like I tend to do when I'm laying in bed. So my phone's down here. It also means when I wake up in the morning, I can't reach my phone first thing, because I can also just like lay there and get sucked into my phone before I've even really fully opened my eyes. Also not a great way to start the day. So having my phone plugged in downstairs has been making a massive difference to my sleep and my general sense of well-being and energy levels. But like I said, I'm currently at the point where about once a week I like go, oh, fuck it, stay up super late, do your normal thing. And I know it's happening. I literally will say to myself, like, you're doing that thing again, Lindsey. You should go to bed right now, but instead you're going to watch another episode of Netflix. And I go, I am going to watch another episode of Netflix. And I'm just being gentle about that, because we're all a work in progress, and it doesn't actually ruin everything if I do that. Do I want to do it differently? Is shaming myself into doing it differently going to work? Nope. Is loving myself into doing it differently more likely to work? Yep. So I'm just loving myself where I'm at. I'm keeping it. I've got a little whiteboard with each of these 5 things that I try and tick off every day. If I don't, I go, okay, well, we'll try again tomorrow. I'm being gentle with myself for all of that. So that's kind of my update, which felt like a non-update update, but hopefully it was useful for you, and hopefully also explains why my Instagram stories are a bit quieter these days, because, I don't know, not a lot to show when you're like, I'm just out here drinking the water and going to bed on time. It's not. Unless you want to see that content, let me know. I can send pictures of water bottles and alarm clocks. So anyway, I will move on now to the question that I had for this week. So the question that I had come in this week, it really, it hit me in here, it hit me in the feels, because it was so relatable to me. The question was, I found myself building a bed all by myself this week and burst out crying because this isn't what I wanted for myself. I wanted to be building it with my ex-partner. And then I got annoyed that I was crying over building this bed. Help. And like I said, so relatable, because it's not just about the bed, is it? Like this is totally common. When you have gone through a separation, a divorce, a breakup, the memories and the grief and the feelings can be triggered from so many situations. Like there's the obvious is, when you're going through it, there's like obviously all kinds of emotions and stuff coming up. And then there are some things that we can predict will be triggers, whether it's like holidays or birthdays or anniversaries or seeing them or, various things like that. There's kind of ones where you're like, ooh, I know ahead of time that it's probably going to be problematic. And then there's the other ones where you don't see them coming at all. And like my version of this bed thing was, I remember one time we were probably about 2 years into our separation or so. And I went on my very first holiday by myself. I was staying on the coast, and I remember my first dinner out by myself, and then I walked down to the pier afterwards. I was on the pier at sunset, and I just started crying. And I thought that I was crying about this, something more recent that had happened in my life. And then suddenly it dawned on me. I was crying about my ex-husband. And I was so confused because we were well and truly over by then. Our everything was legally finalized. Emotionally, we were totally done. Time had passed. I really thought I was over that stuff. And then suddenly here I am on a pier on the coast watching a sunset crying about my ex. What is going on? Am I not over him like I thought I was? Where is this coming from? And so just really, I guess, normalizing that happens. And I'm saying it doesn't necessarily mean that you still love him and you want him back and you're not over him and that actually all of that work that you thought you had done was for nothing. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that you had a really loving, strong connection with somebody, and that doesn't just go away with one set of healing work, boom, it's all done. There's a lot of layers to this stuff. We are messy, complicated, emotional human beings, And this stuff comes up again and again in layers. Like, if you're in this world at all, you'll get sick of people talking about the layers, but there's so many layers to all of this. And so what happened is just there was a new trigger and a new layer to be discovered, and it comes up and you go, okay, there's some grief here for the fact that my life currently isn't what I imagined it was going to look like. And that is okay to be sad about. That is okay to grieve and to really be gentle with yourself, because when you got married in the first place, you probably didn't envision getting divorced. Most people don't when they go into their marriages. You imagined having that life together for the rest of your lives. And that when you bought furniture from now on, you'd have a partner to put furniture together with. You'd have a partner to sleep in that new bed with. All of that stuff. And so when suddenly it's not how you imagined it, when suddenly you're building that bed by yourself, and it's fucking hard to build something as big as a bed by yourself. So there's logistical problems there for sure. But B, it brings up all those emotions. That is totally expected. And so my advice there is to let it be okay, and to really understand that not everything that comes up like that is a problem that needs to be solved. It doesn't necessarily need a fix or a thing or a, hey, beautiful, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a, oh no, I thought I'd healed that and I didn't, and now I have to go and do a ton of work there. Maybe it does. Maybe it's a trailhead and you go, ooh, it brought up something in me and I'm going to follow that trail and actually discover that there is some more work to do in that area. That is totally legit. The other option is it might just be that you go, ooh, I'm just going to notice that and pay attention to that and be gentle to that part of me that's feeling that way. And then we get to just move through it. And it just gets to be, okay, it was a feeling. It didn't need fixing as such. And there's no way that I can know that answer sitting here, right here and now. And sometimes we don't even always know that answer for ourselves. But I really recommend getting quiet with yourself, doing a little bit of internal investigation. For me, journaling. Always journaling is the helpful bit. So if you're a journaler, pull it out. If you're not a journaler, I highly recommend it. It's one of those tools that I know at the beginning I was very hesitant to. People kept telling me to journal. I was like, fuck off with your journaling. I don't have time for that. I don't have interest in that. I know what's going on in my head. Why on earth would I need to spend the time writing it down? And then I tried journaling and it was actually insanely helpful. And I cannot recommend it enough. So even if you think journaling's not for me, don't knock it till you try it. So I do recommend getting out your journal and really just going, okay, what came up for me here? Do I need to do anything? Do I need anything right now? Do I just need to acknowledge that I was feeling this way? Do I just need to cry it out and get it out of my system? Or is it more than that? Is there oh yeah, I have some more specific grieving to do, some forgiveness to do, something specific to work on? There's no right or wrong answer to any of this. And I will also say that the more you do all of this work and the more that you go through this process, the continuous growth, the healing, the expansion, all of that jazz, those triggers do lessen over time in terms of the frequency and the severity. So they might still come out of nowhere. I mean, recently I had one 4 years into our separation, and my ex went to a football game that I am not a football fan, but in the past I would have gone with him. And knowing that he was because it was a big game, and at that, watching that football game, knowing he was there, I had this moment of oh, but I would have been there with him. There can be these unexpected moments that trigger you and you're like, man, I did not see that one coming. But like I said, that trigger came a long time after the trigger before that, and they definitely spread out. And also, it wasn't this one wasn't nothing, it didn't have me in tears. It wasn't a big thing. It just was this little kind of twinge that I noticed and went, oh, well, that had a funny effect on me. Interesting. So very much they lessen the impact they have on you, can decrease significantly over time and with all of this work. So I promise you it will get better as well. Okay, I think that was everything. I think if there was anything else I wanted to add on to that. I don't think so, other than just to say you're not doing it wrong. There is no right and wrong way to do this. You're not feeling it wrong. Your feelings are never wrong. Crying because you're building a bed by yourself is totally okay and normal, and yeah, really relatable. So I'm sending you loads of love. Also, if it's something as big as a bed, grab a friend next time, because like I said, logistical challenges with building a bed, so don't be afraid to ask for help. Pull in your support network. And if you need emotional support network, hi, I am here to help. I'm so glad you asked this question. And also, this is exactly what we can do in coaching together. So I have one-to-one and group coaching spots available right now, and really just working with you to get through these tricky spots and to know that we can be triggered and yet they don't have to derail us, to know that we don't get to control what's happening around us, but we do get to control how we react to things. We get to control how we show up. We get to control the work that we do inside ourselves. And that feeling better from all of this is totally possible, and I can help you with all of that. That is what coaching with me is for. So if you want to talk about it more, send me a message. We can book a free call. I can talk you through the options more. And, if you've been watching this for a while, you know there's never any pressure from me. I am like, I just want to chat to you, just want to talk. So we can just chat, and like I said, I'll tell you what the options are. We can see if it's a good fit or not. But yeah, absolutely here to be on your support team for all of that too. So that's all from me this week. I'm going to go get my kiddos from school, continue focusing on those basics, treating myself like a puppy who needs food, water, movement, fresh air, and sleep, doing the basics in my business, and just nailing those foundations, which feels slow, but also feels really nourishing and supportive right now. So let me know how that lands with you, and I will talk to you next week. Okay, sending you loads of love. Mwah.